Maseches Yevamos is the first Masechta in Seder Nashim, the group of Masechtos that deals with the halachos of male-female relationships. Yevamos mostly discusses the laws of Yibum. What is Yibum? Yibum is created in a situation in which a married man dies without living children, and he has a brother. In order for his name to be continued, to be perpetuated through Klal Yisrael, there is a mitzvah for the living brother to marry the man's widow. The children that are born from that relationship will continue the name and the legacy of the deceased, as it were. The mitzvah of Yibum applies in a number of circumstances, and it is exempted in a number of circumstances. The important things to keep in mind is who died, who is his wife, and who is the brother. So the law of Yibum exists when the man who died was married. He was married without children from him. It is if his wife has her own children from a different marriage, it makes no difference. He has to be someone who could have given birth. His wife has to be able to give birth and bear children. And she has to be permitted to marry the brother. Now, of course, one is forbidden to marry his brother's wife under normal circumstances. That prohibition does not exist when the mitzvah of Yibum exists. However, all other forbidden marriages do block Yibum, or are involved in consideration when there is Yibum. If it is a marriage, if the marriage of the woman to the brother will be a forbidden relationship that includes kares, there will be no Yibum relationship. There will be no mitzvah of Yibum. As a matter of fact, there will be an Isser Kares. If it is a different Isser Daraisa, it possibly may be overridden. And if it's an Isser Dirabanan, we'll have a situation in which you need to get rid of this Yibum relationship in a different way, but you cannot complete the actual marriage. Now, when a woman falls to Yibum, that's the phrase, when her husband dies without children, she's called falling to Yibum. She has a connection, an established relationship with the surviving brothers. That relationship is called a Zika. Zika, she's called a Zikuka or a Yevama. That relationship has some aspects of connection there. There are some ways in which it's considered a marriage already. That Zika prevents her, for example, from marrying anyone else. That Zika can be broken either by doing Yibum, which completes the marriage to a real marriage, or it can be broken by a process called Chalitza. Chalitza involves the removing of the shoe and some other steps. And Chalitza breaks that Zika without doing Yibum and ends the relationship. Today we do not do Yibum anymore because of possible issues of intent, and therefore we only do Chalitza. Now, when there are multiple brothers, the Zika relationship exists to all of them, but only one of them needs to do Yibum or Chalitza for that relationship to end. When there are multiple wives, the Zika relationship exists from all of them to all the brothers, and of course, only one of them needs to do Yibum, and that ends the relationship to the rest of them. The Masechta will discuss relations that are forbidden, where the mitzvah is exempted. There are other exemptions, such as we said, if the woman is unable to bear children, there is no Yibum. There are brothers that are not involved in the mitzvah, such as a brother who was born after the man without children after he died. And there are a number of situations in which you have to do Chalitza and you cannot do Yibum because of Isur D'Rabbanan, or even in one instance in Isur D'Oraisa. These will all be discussed at length throughout the Masechta. Now, Yibum is performed by just completing the marriage. There is no wedding, no kiddushin, no chuppah. Just the consummation of the marriage completes the Yibum. She then becomes a full-fledged wife and has all halachas of a regular wife. It is possible for the brother to do kiddushin that has some arrangement Midirabanan, that is called Mamar, if he does Kiddushin to his Yevama, Maimer. He could also give her a get that have no effectiveness as a divorce, but it does have some Midirabanan effects, and that would be a divorce of a Yevama. Some terms to keep in mind are Yavam and Yevama. Yavam is the man to whom the woman is falling. Yevama is the woman who's falling to Yibum. Chalitza is the process of separating the connection. Chalutza is a woman who received chalita. Choletz is the man who's doing the chalita. Mamar is a midrabanan kiddushin that is performed between a yavam and a yevama. Zika is the connection between the yevama and the yavam before they actually do yibam or chalitza. And the woman who's in a state of zika is called a zikuka. Now let's begin the Masechta.